How good is Hakim Ziyech? What are his abilities, weaknesses? How has he improved? And what does he bring to the table? This is the profile of Hakim Ziyech. With me today to present Hakim Ziyech's profile is none other but Lionel Joel from Lionel Joel YouTube channel. Lionel, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always great to be on, and yeah, I can't wait to get started on this one. This is one of my favorite Chelsea players, so yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's awesome to know that Hakim Ziyech is one of your favorite Chelsea players. So presenting the profile wouldn't be an issue to you, and I am excited. So let's get into it. To start, Lionel, can you give us a brief overview of Hakim Ziyech's profile or history, if you like?
Yeah, I mean, starting off, I think it's pretty evident, if you follow Hakim Ziyech's life story and things, you understand that he did have a bit of a rough childhood. He was the youngest of 9 children, I think it was, born to
9 in a single family.
Yeah, exactly. Born to a Moroccan mother and a Dutch dad, and so he had, there was a lot of things that obviously were hard for them. And he had to he was a bit in the streets with his brothers, but luckily for him, football prevailed, and he managed to kind of step away from that and go into doing what he loves, and that's playing football. Looking at his youth career, from 2001 to about 2004, he was at Real Jordan, which is a local team from where he was born, and then he moved on to another local team, which is ASV Dronten. Also, I think the names are similar. So yeah, he was there from about 2004 to 2007, but this was again, youth career times. There's not much like real stats on what he was doing there. And then from 2007 to 2012, he was at Heerenveen. These Dutch names are so hard to pronounce, but yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So yeah, he was there, and so obviously, I think from hearing about his life story, interviews of his coaches, he was always that kid that was in and out. Like you knew he had the potential, but because outside factors were a big part of his life, it was hard for him to concentrate on what he could do and in football, and it just came naturally to him. Luckily, like Hakim Ziyech, I don't think he's one of those like Cristiano Ronaldo types where he has to like constantly be in the gym. I think that left foot of his, it comes naturally. It really comes naturally for him to put the ball wherever he wants it to go, to dribble how he wants to dribble. And yeah, so luckily for him, that worked out. Moving on to his senior career, he went into the senior team in Heerenveen. Again,
don't worry about it.
for the pronunciation.
Don't worry about it.
But in the senior team, he had 36 appearances and he scored 11 goals at the time, which was not bad for a kid, especially of his stature. I mean, if you think of how Hakim, he's been like that his whole life, basically, kind of very slim, very small, some would call. So that was his start then, and then he moved to Twente. From 2014 to 2016, he had 68 appearances there, and he scored 30 goals. So he was coming into himself at that point. He was becoming that that player that scouts were starting to look at and think, oh, okay, this guy, there's something here. And then he got his move to Ajax Amsterdam. We all know about the the history and the everything that comes with Ajax Amsterdam, and over there he shone with a team, obviously with a lot of other young players that came through that that system. Yeah, and he shone with them. I mean, he played 100. He had 112 appearances, scored 38 goals, and had 62 assists in his time at Ajax, which are incredible numbers. Yeah, so it's just been, and you can see that it's been like a gradual rise to fame. They did name him the Magician of Amsterdam after all, because of what he could do, the wand of a left foot that he had to place the ball wherever he wanted, however he wanted. And yeah, that's just, that's I mean, I started following Ajax a bit more because of Hakim, because of what I saw he can do. And it's just it was wonderful when they were put in the group with Chelsea. I was super excited because I finally got to see him play against my team, so it was good to see. And he obviously shone that match. He showed us what he can do. That free kick from the corner where he scored against Kepa was amazing. And and his crosses over to Proms, or I forget who I forget who the left back was also. So it was just a complete performance. Obviously, for me as a fan of him, it was and then you hear, oh, Chelsea's are interested. So I'm like losing my mind now. I'm like, what? That's happening. And it finally happened that he moved to Chelsea. So yeah, so far that's his career, as quickly as I can put it.
Yeah, that is actually awesome. You did some research there. I'll be honest with you. I don't think if I'd be able to present it the way you presented it, and it's perfect. So thank you very much for taking some time to present an overview of his history. That is wonderful. And I must tell you, I'm always happy to see players who's been through what he's been through. From a family of 9, for a single family, that's like a battalion for one to me, and it's not easy to make it. He's been through thick and thin, and he's made it in life. He's very humble, although people more often time, they're quick to jump to conclusion that he's arrogant due to his personality, and I'm not surprised that his personality comes across to some people as arrogant, but that's not who he is. He's just a player who's confident in his abilities. So that's why it seems to some people that he's arrogant. No, I don't think he is. So thank you again, Lionel, for taking some time to put together a brief history of Hakim Ziyech. That is wonderful, and it's a touching one. And I am happy that he's made it as a footballer, and he still will do more because he is right now in his prime. So, Lionel, let's come to his current performance, especially under Thomas Tuchel. Can you please take some time and talk about his recent performances in the preseason or since the arrival of Tuchel till he got injured in the Super Cup?
Yeah, I think this season has been a better one for Hakim. It was a bit touch and go at the beginning when Tuchel came, because as a Ziyech fan, I thought, it might not work for him because maybe Tuchel doesn't think that that he fits in his system. And then you go into the break and there's all these rumors that AC Milan want him and they want to loan and buy deal. So it was a bit touch and go for him. But lucky enough, he came back from the break and he just shot off. Like he just looked like that confident Hakim that we saw at Ajax, that guy that was missing for a lot of the the season before because of injuries and things like that. And so looking at his performances, I think he did amazingly well against Arsenal in the preseason and against Tottenham. And he just looks like that player that we've been waiting for and that we've been wanting to see. Then he goes into the Super Cup and he scores the goal Again, it's him adapting to this Tuchel system. Now he's actually running into the box and making those late runs to be able to be there to finish. Taking more risks, shooting from outside the box, putting in more crosses, which is fantastic to see. And it's super unfortunate that he had that injury to his shoulder. But it looks like they wrapped him up. I think in the Arsenal game, was it? He came back onto the pitch, and of course, we still have to be really careful with him, because I think and I think we might get to that in a bit, part of his weaknesses is that he's very injury prone, and I think it has to do with kind of his body type, especially his physique. That's the word I was looking for. And especially in a league like the Premier League, you have to be tough, you have to be strong, or everyone's just gonna run past you. So yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I think he's been great under Thomas Tuchel. During our run to the Champions League final, I think he scored some crucial goals. Yeah. He came up big for us when we needed it, or when we needed him the most. And during the preseason, I see he's starting to participate more in the defensive aspect of the game. And I think that was what he was doing when he got that shoulder injury. So that's great to see. And it's always just good to see players pick up our form and start doing well. So that's good to see. And like you said, we're starting to see that Hakim Ziyech that we've all been waiting for. So now, Lionel, moving on to his abilities, can you take some time and give us an overview or his overall abilities as a player, what he can do?
Yeah, I think for me, the most special thing we have to talk about with Hakim Ziyech is him being able to pick anyone, anywhere, on any side of the pitch. He is fantastic at that. There's, I think if you YouTube Hakim Ziyech, there's this one pass that he made in Ajax where I forgot who the left back was, but he's almost in the center of the pitch and he shoots the ball like right across onto the guy's path, like onto his foot. And it's things like that. You think of guys like maybe Zidane, or who Zidane is one of his favorite players. Obviously, I think with the whole North African thing, Zidane has always been part of that. But you look at David Beckham also, guys like that who could pinpoint a pass anywhere, the Pirlos and so on and so forth. So Hakim definitely has that. I think that's his biggest strength. I also think he doesn't have an issue taking risks, which I think is a very understated ability of his. I think a lot of players tend to not shoot, or especially in this Chelsea team, they tend to not put this weight on their back to be like, okay, I'm going to take this chance even if I miss. I'm going to make this cross even if it doesn't go well. I'm going to try it again and again and again and again until it does. Finally, it will. And and he just has that, and he has that confidence. And it's even when you think, things are going wrong for Hakim Ziyech, like he just kind of, he's kind of able to lift himself out of that and just carry on being, the amazing player that he is. So looking at his strengths, I definitely think that those two are for me the main things in his game that's just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you. He is capable of orchestrating great passes that you don't see very often in football without his left foot. His left foot is something special, and he's the only person in our team right now that can split the defense in within a split second like this. If you make good runs, he will be the first to see you, and it's good to see that he's beginning to rediscover that form that we all know and start orchestrating such passes that we know he can orchestrate, and that's good to see. So now we know that no player is perfect. No matter how good of a player somebody is, that player must have one weakness or the other. So, Lionel, I know you love the guy so much, but without being biased, can you please talk about his weaknesses as a player?
Um, so yeah, I think like you mentioned earlier, his defensive work wasn't there. It was almost non-existent. I think that had to do with maybe how he grew up playing with the systems that he was in 20 and Ajax. Where the defenders do the defending and the attackers kind of just waltz back a bit if they need to. So I think that's one part of his game that, like you said, he is improving. Obviously, when he got the injury, that's exactly what he was doing. But also looking at his inability to change foot. So if he finds himself in a place on the right side where he needs to take the cross with his right foot, he's very hesitant to do that. He continuously will stop, put the ball back on his left foot, and make the cross. So I think it's important for a player at his level and of the caliber that he is, to be able to once in a while put the ball on your right foot and just cross it just like that. I think it makes it easier for defenders to defend against him because they always know, like, even if he's running and the ball's on his right foot, he's always going to check back and put it on his left. And it just makes it so much easier to kind of defend against him. Yes, he does have, a few tricks in his sleeves, but at the same time, it just makes him, it makes him vulnerable to very smart defenders. So, yeah, I would like to stop there with his weaknesses, but yeah, so that's just how I think about when I think about the most important, I would say, weaknesses that he shows. That would be it.
Yeah, I think you did touch the most pronounced of his weaknesses, which is always trying to bring the ball to his left foot to take a shot or orchestrate a cross, and also the defensive aspect of the game is something that he's not really good at. So now, let's talk about how he has improved. If you think he's improved, Lionel, how has he improved?
Yeah, I think for Hakim, it's more of a mental thing. From what I'm seeing, since he arrived, I think when he first arrived and he got the injury in preseason, I think that kind of knocked. I wouldn't say his confidence, but I think mentally it kind of shook him up a bit. Being in a team like Chelsea, the caliber of Chelsea, and with the runs that we were going on with, we were looking fantastic under one point with Lampard, and then it kind of fell apart. And I think all of that kind of messed with him mentally. So looking at it, I think the best thing that he's done, the biggest improvement that he's had, is his mental game, is being able to stay, focused and understand that, yes, I am a talent. Everything that I do is worth something, and you can see that in his game, and it's giving him more confidence to do things like take shots. And there was one point in the Arsenal game where I think he was running with the ball, and the two Arsenal defenders were in front, and Lukaku was going left, and I think it was Kai Havertz was going right. Yes, he probably made the bad decision to go for the shot. But, like, for him to be able to, stop the ball and say, you know what, I'm going to go for it. That's that confidence that we need, If he had scored the goal, we would have been like, oh, amazing, and obviously he didn't. So it's kind of like, maybe next time pass. But yeah, I just think his mental game is different. He looks like a different person because mentally he's just so sharp and he understands what he needs to do. And for him to have that injury and tell the physios, you know what, just strap me up, and if Tuchel needs me, I'm just going to get onto the field, and that's exactly what he did, and it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, great way to put that, and I appreciate you taking some time to present that aspect of his profile. So now there's been talks about how a change of formation will be the best way to bring out the best in him. Some say they've mentioned a few formations that they think if Tuchel deploys, that Hakim Ziyech will be at his best. So, what formation do you think suits his style of play better?
The thing is, I actually think that our current formation with the 4-5-3 works. And I'll tell you why I think it works for Hakim Ziyech. I think that did I say 4-5-3?
Yeah, you said 4-5-3, but that was a mistake, I know.
Yeah, my bad. So I think I would like to see him play just a little bit deeper. Because I think that with the runs of the left back, whether it's Alonso or Chilwell, with Reece James wrapping around him, now with Lukaku there, who he can actually pinpoint a pass straight to, and whoever's running around, whether it's Timo Werner or Kai Havertz, I think it's perfect for him to be able to distribute, right? To solely his job is being able to orchestrate what's going on the field, and I think that works better in this current formation that Chelsea has. Could there be a change that works? I don't know, because he's a winger. I know, like, wingers like him are dying out, because to be a winger these days you need to have pace, you need to be quick, and he's not. But I still think that with his movement and the way now that he has the ability, and especially now that he has the freedom to kind of go into the middle of the park. If we're playing, for example, if we're playing Timo Werner, Lukaku, and Ziyech, I don't think Ziyech is going to stick on the wing. He's almost going to play in behind the two strikers, so he's able to make those passes easier. So for me, I think this formation works. I don't know, what do you think?
Honestly, I'd say it does. The formation doesn't really matter. It depends on how much freedom he has to roam about, because he always likes to get at the end, that is to be involved in every play. So the more you get the ball to him, the more he can do some damage against our opponents. So to me, I don't think formation is the issue. We've deployed him under Frank Lampard, who most of the time played four at the back. He did well. It's just that he's been quite unlucky with injuries, and you could say his adaptation took longer than we all thought it would. I don't think formation is the issue for me. It's just he needs freedom, and he needs to always be involved in the play. That's when you see the best of Hakim Ziyech. But that's, by the way, that's a counter question that I like, and I'm glad you asked that. So now, overall, what does Hakim Ziyech bring to the table? What does he bring differently to the team that complements every other capabilities of other players in the team?
Right. I think when we look at players in the past, in our past Premier League winning teams, like a Cesc Fabregas, for example, I understand that it's almost like Jorginho is kind of playing that role where he's the one making those passes half of the time. I just think the creativity that Hakim brings to this team is very important, and it's very needed. I think Hakim is one of those players where, when we run out of ideas and everyone is just not clicking as they need to be, he's kind of the glue to making it work, with his passing, with his reading of the game, with and everything that comes with his abilities. I honestly think that's the most important thing that he brings to the table. It's just, and it's important for us to have a player like that. I think Mount brings something different. I think Kai brings something different. Timo Werner, Kovacic, Jorginho. But having a guy like Hakim Ziyech who can pinpoint across to the person on the other side of the field is very needed, because a lot of the time what faults us as the Chelsea team is us moving the ball quickly. moving the ball from one end to the other quickly. I think a lot of the times we don't move it as quick as we need to, and we leave that space for the opponents to kind of come in and get back into their formation. And I think Hakim Ziyech, whenever he gets the ball, he's always in positions where he's allowed to, he can free the striker, he can put a ball in where Reece James can run into. And yeah, I just think that that's the most important thing that he brings to the table, and it's something that we need at this club. And yeah, that's just, I hope I haven't.
That's actually great. Yeah, that's a great response to that question, because like you mentioned, Mason Mount brings something different. He brings industry. His energy is unrivaled in the team. There are other players, pace for Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, his silkiness, and he's got vision too, and he can orchestrate some great passes too, and he can score. He's one of the best finishers in the team. But Hakim Ziyech is the guy with the vision. His quick thinking in terms of pace, he's not that quick, but he will be the first to see that run and orchestrate a great pass to that person that makes that run. So that is very unique. Nobody else does that as well as he does in the team. So that is something that's important to have in the team, because it's not all about dribbles and muscling yourself or pacing your opponent. Sometimes this game is all about making runs in behind, making some creative runs, and getting the ball to that person that's making those runs. So yeah, that's actually a great response. So now let's come to the next question, which is, how important do you think he will be for the team going into the season?
Yeah, firstly, my biggest thing with Hakim is hoping that this is it for his injuries. I think the stop and go might be a defining moment in his Chelsea career. We're always going to think of, oh yeah, Hakim had potential, but he was always injured. So I'm hoping that this is it with the injuries. I think going forward, man, this is gonna be a tough season for us. I think as Chelsea fans, we need to be very understanding with Thomas Tuchel and this team for this season, because again, I know we won the Champions League, but we mustn't forget that this team is young. Obviously guys like Hakim Ziyech are a bit older, and Lukaku, but I think going forward for Hakim Ziyech, I think he is going to be a pivotal point in this team. I think Thomas Tuchel, looking at how he set up his team in the Super Cup final, or how he set up his team against Tottenham and Arsenal, you could see that there was an importance in Hakim Ziyech being the orchestrator, being the guy that put everything together, no matter who was in front of him. So I think that moving forward, especially if he stays fit, he is going to be so important to this team that if he goes out of the team, we will notice that there's something missing and something big is missing. So I'm looking forward to him giving us what he can this season, especially with the competitions that we have. We have to go to the World Cup in December, the Champions League group, which it looks okay for us, but definitely we still need to make sure that we win that group. And that's just I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, perfectly. Perfectly. Given his recent form, his performances in recent weeks, I think we're all, the fan base, you could argue, everyone is looking forward to Hakim Ziyech's performance in the coming season, because he's starting to, you could say, come out of his shelf. He's starting to play like that Hakim Ziyech that we've all been waiting for, and that's good to see. So now, let's move on to his future, Lionel. That's been if it wasn't Juventus, it was AC Milan. This club, the other club wants his signature. He's gonna leave. He's gonna be part of a deal to get this player, the other player, and some other nonsense. What do you think? Do you think he has a future at Chelsea?
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I really, really hope so. I think, again, throughout this video, I've spoken about what I think of Hakim Ziyech as a person, as a player, what he had to overcome. And I think part of this is another thing that he might have to overcome. I think Hakim is he strikes me as one of those people who doesn't give up too easily, and especially when people doubt him, that's when he likes to lift his game and show that I can do this. So future wise, I would love for him to finish out his career, whatever that means. I know after 30 at Chelsea, you get with that 1 year contract and 1 year contract until they get tired of you. But yeah, I think we have a couple of a good more years for Hakim Ziyech, and I look forward to seeing him at Chelsea. I don't think, I'm hoping, but I don't think that he's going to leave. I think that he has his position. He's in this team. I think Thomas Tuchel sees what he brings to this team, and hopefully we have him until it's beneficial for both sides to part ways.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's leaving. And let me tell you this: there's a friend of mine, Sodiraki Jojo, you could say one of the most, you could say an ardent Chelsea follower. He will be very proud of you for the way you talked about Hakim Ziyech. He loves the guy, and you can get into a fight with him for saying that Hakim Ziyech will leave or Hakim Ziyech is arrogant and this. And I think he will be very proud of you, and I think he will love this video. But that's, by the way, I don't think the guy will leave. The club knows what he's capable of doing. And it looks like, and the position he plays, that's his, given his capabilities, even at 32, 33, I think Chelsea would still like to keep him because what was his most that is his most important asset, critical to the way we play. That's being able to see those moves. His vision is critical to the way we play. When somebody makes a run, for him to orchestrate a pass to that person that makes the run. So that's important. A player with these capabilities usually don't retire early in football because the managers do find ways to like get the best out of him because he's got great vision. So Lionel, before we round up, please, I'd like you to take some time to tell the viewers or whoever that gets to watch this video about Lionel Joel YouTube channel and social media platforms where you have presence so that they can go check you out.
Yeah, so I do a YouTube channel on Chelsea football. I'm probably thinking of expanding to just football in general. We'll see how that goes. So you can find me at Lionel Joel, and yeah, on social media, I always forget this. On Twitter, I'm Lionel J13 or something like that. Sorry, just give me a sec. Yeah, so on Twitter I'm Lionel Joel 13, and on Instagram it's Lionel_Joel _YouTube underscore. Yeah. And yeah, so you can find me there on Facebook. It's a Cobham graduate. That's how I started my channel, and then things changed. But yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah, I talk about Chelsea. Sometimes it's great, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is a good video." And then other times when I talk about Lukaku transfers, I get demolished in the comments. But feel free to come and join.
Why would you get demolished? You went against the grain. What happens when you do that? That's hilarious, man. I watched that video. I was like, okay, he really asked for it. And it actually looked like the percentage of the dislike on that video is more than the likes on that video. It got a lot of views, but that was serious killing on your part.
Oh
Go ahead,
yeah,
brother.
I won't be making that. No, but I mean, it was good. It's you know, I enjoy, I enjoy discussions. I enjoy different points of views. Obviously, I made my statement clear, and people disagreed with it, which is not an issue. Yeah, and I just hope moving forward that I'll just I don't know. Next time a transfer comes in, I'll just wait and see. But yeah, Lukaku's proving me wrong, so it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see. Again, he's a Chelsea player. I'm gonna back him now, and that's just what it is. So yeah, so come in. If you disagree with me, come to the channel and we'll chat about it. But yeah, again, I want to thank you so much for your support. Since like the beginning, I don't know how you found me, but you did, and you've been super in just commenting, helping me with future, like wanting to go live. You've been giving me advice on how to do that, so it's been fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah.
I have to let you know I'm only doing for you what others are doing for me. Like I have
Mhm.
others who support me so much. Like there's somebody like Green Tough, he's been brilliant. He even
Mhm.
shows my video in the middle of his stream, say go subscribe to this
Wow.
guy. People, something like that. It's not. I mean, we're doing we're family here. We
Yeah.
all support Chelsea, and although at some point we're only leaving from it, but mostly 90% of the time it is pro bono. We don't own
Yeah.
anything from it. It's out of our love for the club. So I'm not doing anything extraordinary, bro. And if you advise me on something, I'd take it because I don't know everything. You guys.
Right.
So yeah. So people, you see the man's Twitter handle on the screen. Make sure to go check out his channel, and he's the guy that I always want to be on my channel, but unfortunately for me, he's super busy, but I understand. But I always keep pestering him until he finds the time to come back because he's got great voice, great knowledge of the
Thank
game, and
you.
whenever he talks, you'd like to listen to him the whole day. But that's by the way, and I promise
Yeah.
you I'll try to bring him back again. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the profile of Hakim Ziyech. So get in the comment section and let us know if we missed anything. And please don't forget to smash that like button. It is important to the channel. And please subscribe if you haven't. And more importantly, click on the bell notification button so you don't miss anything. Again, it is me, Coachila, and my brother Lionel Joel saying cheers.